Hey guys, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to Union Cross. So, Organization 13 event is here. I'm actually really excited about this. For one, we got members that we were paying 11,600 jewels for. If we pass the quest, we get a free medal, 6-star though, but it is free if you can pass the quest, and you also get 2 trait rolls, which is absolutely amazing for a couple reasons. One, this just came out of nowhere. It was just pretty much like, here you go. This is earlier than any of the other organization events that we got, especially B, that came as a reprint. So this is really great to see. And 2, everyone who didn't pull for these medals, that have a bunch of trait medals sitting around, and you pass this quest, you have 5 trait rolls if you complete the full event, along with 2 more on these medals. So this is really good. But we're going to talk about some free-to-play strategies to help you guys get through this. We're going to turtle some of it. We're going to go straight into power, and I'm going to give you advice on how each organization member works. But if you want a full breakdown, like a whole video dedicated to each one, I do have them all except for Xaldin on my channel, because Xaldin was a JP exclusive. They started a month before us and we got the month afterwards. But if you guys do want to check out any of the other ones, it's on my channel. Just type in Organization 13 events, SmellyOctopus, something like that, or just go through my playlist. I have playlists for event quests and all that. But we're going to talk about every single one, so here's a little breakdown if you guys want that. We're going to start off with Xaldin. Xaldin's the easiest one, and most of you guys can be like, no, it's not, this, that. Xaldin is an aerial enemy, so negative 60 grounds don't work on him. Negative 60 aerial will do more damage on him. That's key number 1. Key number 2 is Xaldin, we can tank him. And you can tank him with any setup, and you can even tank the dragon attack if you use plus 800 traits. The thing about Xaldin, I'm going to talk about in a second as I complete my first one here. So I'm going to do each one as I complete on my free-to-play account. You can see I have no high score challenge medals on here. I just have the tier 4 prime medals and a tier 5 prime medal. The rest was turtling. I turtled the entire thing. I can only survive, I survived every attack except for 1 dragon breath, but you can survive the dragon breath attack if you get lucky, because I think every organization member actually has a crit point, so they can do a little bit of damage to you or a big amount of damage to you because of crits. So that was my first time completing that, like you guys saw. Here's my setup. Now again, throughout this entire video, please don't just copy my setup. Your Woody might not be as strong as my Woody. Your key art 17 might not be as strong as my key art 17. Your sub slots, your fairy stars, starlight, the 35, you might not have 35, but none of that matters. It's the key factors of how the boss works and what you're using. So turtle stance works, but there's a key thing you guys got to realize when you go into this quest. So I'm bringing a friend Ira. You can bring a friend Ira or Ava because they raise enemies counters for 1, which is not that important on this quest. And also, they do raise your speed defense, both of them. So Ira and Ava raise your speed defense. Now, before we start this fight, look at your enemy. What does he start with? ×5 strength. So we got to take that away before we can do anything. So 2 key things you guys can do is, if you don't have a copycat medals to copy your Demix or your Zexion Plus or any medal like Mrs. Incredible that lowers the enemy's attack, but Mrs. Incredible does overwrite, so you don't have to worry about that. That's the best one. Bring in a way to copy your medal that lowers enemy attack, or bring in a medal like Joshua from The World Ends With You, Bell, which is like a tier 3 medal. Medals that remove enemies' statuses to take away that ×5 strength. Because what's going to happen is that we lowered it by ×6 with Demix here, so that puts him only at ×3, or no, sorry, we lowered it by 8, so that puts him at ×3. So he still has 4 extra attack there, which we don't survive this because of that. That is very important. But when round 2 comes around, you guys are going to see that we're going to lower it. So he's going to go from that ×3 to ×5 now, or sorry, ×7 now, because of the 2 casts here. So double casting this is really important, because if you only do 1 Demix or some other medal only does ×2, you have to deal with that ×5. So you got to get rid of that to survive it. And now that you did that, you can survive every attack except for the dragon attack. And you can even survive the dragon attack if he doesn't crit. I survived the dragon attack from just the normal one and the one from the counters. The one from the counters does like no damage, I'm about to show you. Unless I got super lucky, we'll see about that. So you don't even have to bring in Ira. If you can raise your own defenses and lower the enemy's attribute attack, it's fine. But right here, guys, he's going to do his attack, and he does 6,720. There was one time he did like 600, 600, 600, and I survived. So that is a thing of surviving. The only thing is you can't survive that unless you stack a bunch of plus 800 traits. So if you're super lucky and all your medals got plus 800 traits and you're over like 8 to 9,000 or over 10,000 HP, you can make this happen. But I want to show you guys this. So he's going to go from our counters. So counters aren't important. He hops on his dragon again, but it doesn't kill us because of the turtle stance. So you can survive everything. You don't need to manage his counters properly for certain attacks. So just go in there, do this, and that is pretty much Xaldin fight. I'm going to show you a couple key medals you guys can use for this, just if you don't have Demix. I know a lot of you guys didn't pull for Demix, and I can see why now, because they're returning for free if you can pass the event. But go into your medal list, go under sort, and what I want you guys to do is look for medals that lower general attack. So you've got all these medals here. Just copy them, get extra attack on them. If you don't have extra attack, just copy them. Like for 2 turns, he lowers the enemy's strength and defense by 1 tier. So this is the other Zexion. If you have extra attack, that's 2 up to 4. Not enough by himself, but if you copy him enough times, you guys can pull it off. You got Flotsam Jetsam. You've got all these medals, but of course the key ones are Zexion Plus and Vexen Plus, plus the new Demix. They're really good for that, or Mrs. Incredible. Whatever you have to lower the enemy's attack, you're golden, because your Foreteller Friend medal will raise the defense. So this is not needed 100%, but it's also good because you do also want to raise your general defense up as well. So just make a pure Keyblade where you general defense, you got that from Violet, you got that from Vexen. So like copy this guy as many times as you can. For 2 turns, you raise your defense by 1. So if you copy him 3 times, that's 6 general defense up. But just go through all your medals, look for medals that raise your defense and lower the enemy's attack, and try to copy that. That's going to work out really good. Foretellers will take care of the attribute one. So that's pretty much for Xaldin. We're going to jump into the next one, and once I beat it, I'll let you guys know how I did it. So same strategy, just be Vexen. Couple key things you guys want to keep in mind here. His counters are actually important, because if he does go down to 0 counters and he attacks you, he's going to take away some of the buffs that you applied. So you got to make sure that you kind of keep the counters up, but he's got less HP. You can tank everything from the start. I tanked a couple of the hits from the shield, the ice, but when the counters came down, I survived that hit, but I did not survive the hit afterwards because it affects us. So I'm going to bring something like, let's say, let's go something like Bob and Jack Jack here that doesn't restore counters. All right, so Bob and Jack Jack was probably not a good idea, because I think Ava's ×3 attack down for attributes was actually let us survive the ice attack. So I'm going to show you guys right now, raising my defenses and going for the whole attack here. Like, let me just skip this out. This is totally fine. We're just going to use Ava here. So Ava, what she does, she applies a ×3 attribute strength down, where Kairi and Xion only do ×2. So I think that makes a big difference when he uses his ice shield. So let's see what the first attack's going to be. This is how I survived my first round. He did his attack and I didn't die from this. So there's a shield, and we survived. We lost all our buffs, but we survived. So Ava is very key there. We still don't have any of our defenses, but he had ×7 general strength down, and he had ×3 attribute attack down because of Ava. Ava's last thing right there. So even if you don't have Demix or something else, bring in medals that lower the enemy's general strength only, and then bring in Ava. So the defense doesn't matter. It's about the ×7 down and ×3 attribute strength down, and you'll beat Vexen just like that. Or try to brute force it, but we're going free to play here, Turtle. So on to the next organization member. All right, so we're on Lexaeus now, and Lexaeus is very straightforward of what he, well, not straightforward. You have to know what's going on. So he starts with over 44,000 bars of HP. Key things I want to keep in mind here, guys, as we're doing this. This is a pure attack setup, bringing your best medals that you have. Preferably medals with -60 ground, but not necessary, because my Woody here doesn't have -60 ground, but he's still doing 13 million per hit. Even though he doesn't have -60 ground, my subslots are nice and high, making that subslot right there 4.1 because of the Union Cross boost on the Starlight as well. So even though I don't have -60 on him, he does have enough general strength mixed with the proper subslot and the red attack boost that he's doing proper damage. So you don't always need -60 ground, you just need enough strength multiplier to get in there. So medals that do have -60 ground, though, obviously do more damage, 18 million per hit compared to that. And again, here's a tier 5 prime medal, 12 million per hit because he has -60 ground. He's on the pet slot, which is not as high as a 4.1, so he needs a -60. So you got to play around with that, try to get your subslots nice and high. It's really important for these kinds of quests. But the key thing here is that Lexaeus has 2 revenge thresholds, that being 30% and 5%, which roughly, if you want the math, is 15,000 bars of HP. So you see, if I use Ava here, Ava's not going to make his attack go near 15,000. At least I don't hope so. So what you got to do for this kind of quest is try to secure that 15,000. If you can do 15,000 past once you do that attack, it doesn't matter as long as the last medal hits 15,000. But now we have to be careful. We want to use our strongest attacking medal. We don't want to just hit 15,000. We want to make sure that we go past 15,000. So I'm going to use my best attacking medal, which is going to be the Genie, I believe. But like if I use Hercules here and he goes and he brings him near 15,000, I could have done more damage. If I went to Genie, I would have done more damage, died, came back, and now all I have to deal with is like 13,000 bars of HP. So you got to work around with that. But you need to hit a threshold in order to beat this guy. So I'm going to be here for quite a while trying to figure out what my best medals are. So I brought in my A team here, like my really good stuff. Extra attack, Xion, copying Sword and Simba, Genie, Hercules, negative 60 ground on it. And I hit the first threshold. I didn't go too far past it. I got it to 14,000. But I got 2 attacks left, so Nova and Hercules here, because I know Ava's not strong enough. But if I had more counters, I probably would skip Hercules, use Ava, who'd probably get him to like 16, but that wouldn't be enough. So I'm thinking Hercules needs to do over 3,000 bars of HP here. If he doesn't, then I don't pass this, but he does. So that's how you got to pull this off, guys, is that you got to really make sure if you are near that threshold, the next medal you use better go way past it or just enough. So the first threshold I hit on this account, it was 17,600. I used my Genie, which brought him down to 14,600. So I only went like 500 bars of HP below the threshold. So I could have done better, but Hercules was enough to do the rest of that attack right there. So this is a damage check. There's no way around it. The better medals you have, you're going to get this. If not, if you didn't pull for this medal, or if you didn't get good traits, or if you did get good traits, then it's a skip. Don't worry about it. It's one event, but it is a damage check, and I don't have a super good friend medal. I do have a Bob and Jack here from Okashi, but he's got negative 60 aerial, so he did do a lot of damage. The issue is I don't have any prime medals on my Keyblade. If you have prime medals on your Keyblade or medals that ignore enemies' counters, then you can use very powerful medals like this. Ava's not that strong. Ava's in the 32s, while this guy's in the 53 multipliers. He's going to do way more damage, but you got to make sure you're managing the enemy's red counters above his head. So your friend medal can do it all. If you have a copycat medal like I have, Xion or Vanitas, copy Ford, copy the Bob and Jack, copy the Xemnas medal. Make sure he has negative 60 ground for more damage. If he doesn't, it doesn't matter. Try to get extra attack. Try to get anything, but copy these big guys. If you have like Riku versus Roxas here, if you have medals that raise the enemy's counters or ignores them. And you don't have to use the Starlight. If you have Fairy Stars with high sub slots, you can also use that. But Starlight is really key for free-to-play players right now. But the thing is, you have to have speed, you have to have magic, you have to have reverse, you have to have these medals that sit on here properly to pass that. But damage check here, guys. That's all you can really do for Lexaeus. But so far, so good. I'm passing all of them. I'll see you in the next one. So I'm trying to turtle setup here for Zexion. We're now doing Zexion. We killed the books early, which I think was a bad idea. But I'm just trying my first original turtle setup to see if it works out for this. So he does this move right here, which you can survive, but you go down to ×7. So if you don't have the new Kairi X Kai, you are gonna have a hard time bringing your attack back up. But we survived that. So what I'm doing here is a mixture of Demix and Zexion Plus. So if you guys don't have Zexion Plus, it's not a big deal. I just brought him in for damage, fixed damage. So what fixed damage is, you have a couple medals that say that it does this amount of damage no matter the enemy's defense. Those are medals like Tyree, the new Nominate EX, that's Zexion there. There's also older medals you guys can use. It will kill the books. You can't kill the books without those fixed damage medals. I'm going to show you how to find them in your inventory. But I'm just seeing how much we can turtle off Zexion. And we can turtle one hit, which is good so far. And we can turtle that hit as well. So bring in, again, the turtle setup. Turtle setup works for Zexion. You just got to bring in a way to kill the books, and the books are pretty fairly easy to kill. It's just medals like this guy right here that do fixed amount of damage. You always do 32,000 per hit, no matter if Zexion buffs his defenses or not. In PvP, it's a different story. Defense Boost Max works on that for some reason. But that is a full clear with my easy setup that doesn't have the high score challenge medals, just has tier 4 medals and a tier 5 prime medal on it that doesn't have that many good traits. But turtle setup on Zexion works. Key thing here is the books. If you guys don't want to do AoE damage to kill the books off the bat and you want to try to run through all of it without turtling, then what you guys got to do is bring in single target medals and let your friend medal or let your Tyree destroy the books on the last round. Leave the books for last. That's another strategy. But Zexion down, I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about by medals that do fixed amount of damage. So when you go to sort, make sure you undo everything just in case. And go down to medals over here. Under special, you'll find all those medals. So medals like Orin, he does total 66,000. If a medal says something like this, times 1.9, it's not fixed damage. When you look at a medal, it'll just have a big number, and it says inflicts a fixed amount of damage regardless of target's defense. So Orin, Tyree, that's not Tyree, sorry. Tyree, which is guaranteed every pull if you guys really want to. You have nothing else, you can use Tyree. You've got Beast, who's a tier 2. It takes a longer time, but the whole point is that you just want to make sure that you're turtling Zexion, and then you get rid of the book slowly afterwards. And the key thing everyone pointed out is medals that raises a 80% guilt actually affect fixed damage medals. So Arin will do more than that because he'll add his guilt percentage plus the guilt percentage from Kyrie or Era or whatever medal you have that raises guilt by a certain percentage. So that's Zexion, guys. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so Saix, another DPS check, guys. It's pretty straightforward. What you got to do here is just kill them as fast as possible while managing those counters. Now, I tried a turtle setup. It didn't work out on the blue counters, but the red counters, it might. Now, Prime Rocks is here. You can see he's doing 2 million per hit, but he's not on a proper slot. He's on slot 4 on the Starlight, which is a speed slot, and he's a magic medal. But because he does have negative 60 ground, I can still use him on an offset Keyblade. The reason I'm using him is, one, he's going to do AoE damage, but mainly because he ignores enemies' counters, so he's not going to affect it, which is going to turn out really good. Alright, so rearrange my setup. I got here Xion copying my Prime Illustrated Roxas, which I think you don't need the extra attack that I have on Xion. It worked out pretty good, even though, again, Prime Roxas wasn't doing good where he was. He was being copied by Xion, who was doing about 5 million per hit. Nothing crazy, but again, extra attack got that extra 2 million. If your Xion has negative 60, you're probably doing better. But what happened on the second turn is that my Genie was the last one to attack, so I didn't have nothing from Hercules and nothing from Ava. But I'm on the last attack of Ava, so I'm going to use my Nova, which does like no damage, 18,000. And then extra attack from Ava here to finish off the last 172. So there you go. I beat Saix on my free-to-play account with this strategy. It worked out pretty good. Again, the Hercules and the Genie are my key attackers here. You guys can do way better than me with Prime medals. If you guys mercy pulled your Prime medals and you got negative 60 ground or plus 1,000s on there and you're using the Starlight, you can do a lot better than I am right now. Just make sure you bring in your best medals, and tier 5 Prime medals are really good. Extra 2,000 attack because the chips and dales for defense as well, but just a chip. You also get the 5 trait slots. If you mercy pulled, you probably have good traits on there. So just because you see my Genie or my Hercules, look for your best medals, especially your best medals at negative 60. Maybe your tier 4 negative 60s are better than your tier 7s. Keep that in consideration. So last one is Axel. I'll let you know how this goes. So facing Axel right now, I'm short about 817 bars of HP. I'm going to try something different, but if anything, I think I'm just going to put attack boost 7 max on my Genie, because right now I'm running attack boost 5 max. So I have two options. Since I'm so close, it's that attack boost maxes, increase them on certain medals, or find a way to increase my sub slots. That's the only way, or make your Keyblade into a higher one. But I'm going to try switching out this over here and see if that works out. I don't know if it's going to, but I'm going to try. So I'll be right back. Alright, so like you guys saw in the last one, I ended up putting attack boost 7 max on my Genie, and that made the world of a difference. From 5 max to 7 max is a big difference, at 2 tiers up. So I went from doing probably around 10,000 bars of HP per turn to 11,900, which you guys are about to see. So again, straightforward setup. My extra attack copycat medals really make a big difference, but my Genie is key here because of this. It went from like 16 million to like 19 to 20 depending on a crit. So I might have to reset this a couple times for a crit. I'm not sure yet, but this should be just enough. I was doing 11,900 on the first round. I'm going to use Nova after this. So you have to do about 11,900 damage per round. So I did more than enough by putting a 7 max on my Genie. So there's another tip for you guys. If you have 4 maxes or 5 maxes, start replacing them with 7 maxes. I gave my Genie a 7 max, even though he costs 7 gauges. He's on a Starlight or Fairy Star setup, which has a lot of gauges already. And most of my medals cost less than 1 anyways. So there you go. Complete the whole thing on my free-to-play account. Haven't really pulled for the very longest time. I'm waiting for that new Sephiroth to come out with Cloud, because I kind of want Cloud, but at the same time, I think on my free-to-play account, I might skip it on Cloud as well. I'm not sure. If I get Sephiroth, though, that's a game changer. Sephiroth is not a mercy pull. That's the issue. But it seems like my free-to-play account is still doing good without the foretellers, without the Riku, just what I've been using this whole entire time. But Fairy Stars is the main Keyblade once Starlight loses its buff from Union Cross, which is in a couple days. So heads up, guys, if you want to do this, you now have 6 days left for the Treasure Trove booster and the Starlight booster. So that goes for Sephiroth's fight as well, guys. If you're almost beating Sephiroth, you have 7 days including today, so a week. Next Monday, this is gone. Just a heads up for everyone who's using Starlight as their main Keyblade or Treasure Trove at the moment. Those are gone very, very soon. But there you go, guys. Hopefully something here helped you. The community, everyone, if you have past this, if you have setups for everyone, leave it down below. Tell people your sub slots though, and tell them your Keyblade level, because it's very important. Sub slots make a big difference. But we are done the whole event on my free to play and main account. I have the main account video up, but it's pretty much just really OP metals going really ham on these guys, where this I actually use some strategy for the turtle setups on Xaldin, Zexion, and Vexen, which I think is the only 3 you can actually turtle. But either way, guys, if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit the like button. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll see you in the next one.